Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about cracks in foundations, horizontal, vertical. I've got certified master inspector Steve with Admirable Inspection Services here to tell us a little bit more about foundation cracks.
Good question, Tyler. Hello everyone, I hope you enjoy our quick chat to talk about foundations here today. Now, we encounter a lot of foundation cracks. We've had lots of inspections together in the past. We've been very fortunate to work together with a lot of buyers, which has been great. So we have a couple of common cracks that we'll see from time to time. And most commonly, we're going to see a vertical crack running up and down the course of a foundation wall. Well, one thing we know is that in modern construction techniques, and when we talk modern, I'm talking the mid-1900s here, I'm not talking the early 1900s, we expect some structural reinforcement to be within that foundation. So rebar. If we have a crack that runs horizontally, we may not have that same protection. So we think about most foundations having some rebar reinforcement in them. We know that if we have a vertical crack, we can have some rebar to bridge that crack. When we get into horizontal situations, we may not. We may see some actual really instability. That's when an engineer gets consulted, and that's when we kind of have to step back as inspectors and let somebody that's going to be able to develop a permanent long-term plan go to that home and determine what the actions are going to be.
So what are the differences between the horizontal versus a vertical crack, and which one's worse? Which one do we not want to see in the home?
Well, nobody wants any type of cracking in a foundation, especially when, that's one of the biggest concerns people see. One of the most common questions we get is, how's my roof, how's my foundation, right? Yeah. That's what everybody wants to know. Can we keep the water out? Yeah. So if we look at a vertical crack, typical options are a polyurethane or an epoxy injection, depending on what the consultant says that they want to do in that particular case. Again, in most cases, we're going to be looking for water protection, not structural changes in that sense. If we have a crack that starts to deviate and starts to lead off to a direction, now we have to start being a little more cautious. Are we seeing signs of settlement with the home, or are we just seeing the nature which way that crack went? And that might be where an epoxy goes into play. Much like we talked about earlier today when we were chatting grading, right? Even with a foundation crack that is open, if we can effectively manage that groundwater away from our homes, we have a chance of keeping that water out. But there is solutions out there. The rule of thumb nowadays to fix a foundation crack that's a perfect vertical crack that has no structural value to the house is only about $100 a foot, right? So we're not dealing with a major expense anymore, but we got to get to it. So if it's a finished basement, you're opening some walls, you're doing some drywall, you're working with vapor barrier, you're going to have some extra associated costs, but it's not going to spiral out of control.